The film begins with Sarah Cody worried for her daughter's health while her father Don Cody drives her to the hospital. She suddenly closes her eyes all the way and rushes her father to go faster. They finally make it to the hospital. Her daughter is carried in a stretcher getting help while Sarah watches in worry. 20 years earlier, Sarah is having dinner with her family including her sister Amy and her mother Irene. She gets up saying she is going to a party, but Don seems upset that Sarah's mother didn't discuss it with him. He refuses to let her go since he thinks her attitude is bad. Sarah is upset she can't go and is told to go to her room. Instead, she sneaks out to go hang out with her boyfriend, Chris. Her mother goes to check on her, then her father also checks. Once they go in, they see she isn't there, and her father says she is a problem. While she's out with Chris, he sings her a song and she enjoys it. The next morning, Don is sitting on his porch and eventually sees Sarah and Chris together. He catches her and wants to know what's up with her and Chris. She disobeys his rules in his house and goes to her room not really worried. Her sister checks on her and Sarah claims that Don is crazy and her mother lets him do whatever. Her mother comes in saying she's grounded for a week, but Don overhears Sarah saying she's leaving when she's 18 and wants to travel the world while Irene comforts them. Don soon goes down to his basement furious, thinking of doing something. He pushes a bookshelf with the door behind it and unlocks it. Later that day, her mother leaves the house and Don goes back in and tells her he needs help with something. She helps him to where they go down to the basement. When they are down there, she asks him if she can hang out with a friend, and he says she could, but she is surprised by seeing the hidden door behind the bookshelf. She goes in not expecting anything. They place the box down, but Don acts strangely towards her, backing up slowly. He then shuts the door on her and walks away while she yells for help. She sees the box as all her belongings. Don then shuts everything closed. She tries guessing the code to get out but doesn't work. As she keeps screaming, Don notices he can hear her still, so he covers the sound tube so no noise can be heard, and he goes back up. Later that day, Irene and Amy worries that Sarah hasn't been seen all day. Amy assumes she's at a friend's house. Irene thinks different and wants to call the cops. This is the first day she is trapped. The second day she continues to try but nothing works. On the fourth day she hears Don coming in, so she bumps him trying to escape, but the doors are shut locked. Don drags her back into the locked room. He claims he changes the door lock code every day so she can't figure it out. He tells her this is her consequence for being disrespectful. He says everything she gets will be earned, but she doesn't answer him, so he slaps her. He then rapes her after. He leaves, closing everything up. Amy and Irene explains to the police that she would never run away while Don tries to act like nothing happened. Sarah sits in the basement defeated. Sarah's boyfriend Chris comes to their house asking if Sarah is back home, but Don makes up a story saying she is cheating on him with a guy named Steve, and Chris is devastated. He then drives off. 3 weeks later, Don goes to the basement with cake since Sarah turned 18, but she is far from happy. He gives her a dress and forces her to put it on, and for now she has to call him Don and not Dad. A month has gone by as she is still in there. She gets dressed as Don comes in the basement, but she made a weapon, but she fails to hit him and he stomps her arm. He yells at her and once again rapes her. A full year has passed by and she is pregnant this time. Her water breaks. She sits there not knowing what to do. She tries to solve it, then moments later she gives birth to a baby girl and names her Marie. Don tells her motherhood is the best thing that can happen while Sarah shows zero emotion towards him. For years has gone by and Irene is still hurt not seeing Sarah. Down in the basement, Sarah is pregnant with another baby. She tries to be as nice as possible to Don. Marie is now older, with Don being the father. She asks if they can be let go, but he gets furious and leaves, locking everything. He goes back up to have dinner. Amy congratulates him on a promotion. Irene then says they should hire an investigator, but Don refuses to. Don gifts Marie and Sarah a TV to watch, and they're excited. The 7th year has gone by. Marie is sick and Sarah asks for Don's help, but he seems careless. She says Marie needs a doctor, but is told she's the mother and she needs to handle it. Chris comes back and sees Amy and they talk about if they've seen Sarah. He brings up Steve and Amy seems confused and doesn't know about a Steve. Down in the basement with her children Michael and Marie, Marie is upset she can't go outside and make friends. Amy tells Chris she thinks Don did something since he's an abuser. Later that day, Don is confronted about lying to Chris and admits to it. Amy says he knows something they don't know. She continues to ask if he did something, and he continues to lie. Irene is now serious about hiring a private investigator and has had enough with Don. She starts breaking glass out of frustration. Amy sees his keys and grabs his keys. She goes down to the basement looking for any locks for the key. Don catches her and yells at her to get out. Sarah gives birth to another baby and names him Thomas. She tells him if he could take only Thomas upstairs. She tries to expose the baby to her mother Irene. Irene opens her front door to a baby crying with a note on it letting her mother know she is alive. Don acts surprised, but when Irene goes inside, Don sees a paper folded up, reads it and seems disturbed. He confronts Sarah about another note signaling to her mom that she is held captive and to call the police. Marie is even more older now, and she gets emotional on how she hasn't met anyone new and wants to meet new people. 17 years has passed by and Thomas is almost an adult. Sarah and her kids see water drop down and they realize it's rain. She gets a spoon thinking she can dig through the roof. She continues and makes a big hole. A random person on the street sees it and knocks on their door telling Don about a flash on the ground. Don goes to the basement and immediately beats on Sarah. He covers the hole Sarah did with a shovel. The 18th year has officially passed by and Michael is furious, wanting to know when will they get out. Don explains they will be able to when Sarah behaves. When Don leaves, they get in an argument and Michael blames Sarah for them being in the basement, and she loses her temper and starts destroying stuff. They feel bad, so they clean everything up. Soon they all gather together and Sarah says it's time she tells them the truth about Don. She tells them about her sister Amy, but they want to know how she met Don. She explains that Irene isn't her aunt but is her mom. She finally tells them that Don is her father but is also Marie and Michael's father. Marie begins to have an asthma attack and they know Don is the problem. When Don gets down there, he disrespects Sarah, so Michael tells him not to talk to her like that. He begins to attack Don but gets thrown. He starts to break down. Don puts a tube in the basement's vents and puts the other side in the exhaust and starts the car. Smoke starts to enter the basement, but he stops since Thomas distracts him. The next day, Marie has an asthma attack and gets really sick, and it gets worse as time passes by. Don comes and sees it. Sarah says she needs to go to the hospital. He refuses, but she begs him to go and he says he will. He brings her to the emergency room. They try to save her as she is dying while Sarah watches. Another doctor asks them questions about Marie, but Sarah plans on doing something. She drops water on purpose so he can get up. She then gets up, but Don catches her walking away. She tells a doctor she needs help and a police stops him. Marie finally wakes up to finding out Don was arrested. He is took to a police car. They find out it's over. They take Michael out the house with Irene shocked and breaks down crying. Now Marie and Michael are able to live a normal life with their other brother Thomas in the outside world. After 24 years, Sarah reunites with her mother and sister. Moments later, Chris drives to her house while Sarah is in shock. They talk about all their memories since they were teens and go on a drive together. Thanks for watching until the end, and if you made it this far, make sure you subscribe for more breakdowns.